Good afternoon, guys. Vanessa, you could answer this question. What is the association that you all are representing here today?
All right, so currently I teach for a swimming school called Tadpoles School of Swimming. And it's between myself and Karen Araujo, and we range from toddlers straight up to right before pre-com. Um, we've been doing this for about 13 years or so, and it's exciting.
All right, so you say you're representing Tadpoles, right? That's the
Yes.
association. Okay. What has been the COVID experience been like for you, Vanessa? And then you could speak about it after Vanessa, Sean.
All right, well, as soon as the social interaction bit came up where we weren't supposed to be socially interactive, we've cut down or stopped all group swimming sessions and even individual, because not only do I teach classes, I also go to homes as well and teach. And we've had to stop all, obviously, because it's a close association. You're basically up in the child's face when you're teaching them. And the risk of spread would be great. So we've had to curtail and cut down, actually cease all teaching from since that social interaction bar came up.
Okay.
So negatively.
Was this your main source of income, Vanessa?
Yes, it is.
And
I used to be a banker, and I went into this as many years ago, and it has been my main source of income for a while.
Okay. Sean, same question. What has been your COVID experience like, and what does that mean for you with this particular association too as well?
I represent the Blue Dolphin Swim Club, and we are a competitive swim club, the oldest swim club in the country, and we have a vibrant program running from learn to swim all the way up to competitive swimming. It has affected us immensely. I guess we operate out of the same facility as the Tadpoles there, so the St. Mary's College pool has been shut down for the entirety of following the restrictions put in place. And I mean, we have just been guided by the principals and the advice of the professionals, and the healthcare professionals have put things in place for us so that we just follow and communicate as such. We've taken the time to really look at planning and scenarios going forward, because we have a juggling act to put into place with the number of members that we have in the different groups when we utilize our pool time. So it is a bit of a challenge going forward, and we expect some changes in the way we do business. It's just been a lot of planning and consideration for different approaches, different methods for this competitive swimming going forward.
Okay, well, as I have you on the line now, Sean, what has been the feedback from the parents at this particular time?
Well, we have been sending workouts from the coach's perspective for land work that they could do at home. And some parents have been communicative, some have not been that much. And, we're not pressuring anybody, because we know it's a lot of stress. This is not just about swimming. So I'm not pressuring anyone to be overzealous. So parents of swimmers tend to be very much involved. So I anticipate that they would have been right there with the kids and working along. A lot of them are anxious to get back to activity, get back into the routines, because swimming is a very routine sport. A lot of time per week put into the pool. So I guess they want to get back to some semblance of that.
Similar question, Vanessa. What is it like? What is the feedback you've been getting from the parents for your association, for Tadpoles?
I mean, everybody understands, obviously, what's going on. A lot of the parents that I have very young children. And, with young children, there's a lot of high energy. So recently, especially as things have started to, come together a little bit, people have been saying, Auntie Vanessa, we really miss it. They're anxious to get back into the water. But similarly, we have to follow the guidelines, and we're not going to do anything unless, so stipulated by all the guidelines. But they're very anxious to get back into the water. I mean, it's not like competitive swimming, where I don't want to put that the workouts aren't necessary, but with competitive swimming, I think Sean will obviously agree, there are more short-term goals in terms of competition, etc., that the children and young teenagers have to work towards. Whereas with Learn to Swim, you're basically there to learn to swim. So they're not as anxious with regards to that, but they are anxious to have the kids back into an activity.
So let me just get it clear, Vanessa. You're Learn to Swim, whereas Sean is a competitive swim team, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Second to that, I was thinking, how long has your association been in existence, Vanessa?
About a while, probably around 12 years or so. Yeah, it was very small and it's grown significantly since then.
Similar question, Sean. How long has Blue Dolphins been in existence?
As I told you, Blue Dolphins is the oldest club in the country. We recently celebrated 50 years, or 50th anniversary, actually in 2018. So we're 52 in 2020. And we are part of the Amateur Swimming Association of Trinidad and Tobago, one of the swim clubs there. I think Blue Dolphins would have been a spawn, spawn for a number of clubs who were spawned from Blue Dolphins Swim Club, Marlins, etc. Coming out of, so building up the foundation for the association.
Do you all have any projections of what things will be like, or is it that we're going to write off the year 2020 and we probably have to start back in 2021?
From the association level, we haven't really had much dialogue on that perspective. From that perspective, really, they have been sending communication that would have been sent out from the international swimming body FINA and from the regional bodies UANA and CICAN, etc. More guidelines and some information with respect to competitions. A lot of the competitions that were scheduled for this year have been cancelled. So we know there's no short-term competitions that we have to look towards. It takes a little bit of thinking on the part of the coaches, because regular training methods and regular training practices will have to now be reconsidered so that we can get some benefit under the restrictions that exist. We definitely have to embrace technology a lot more, and we have to look at different training methods to get the maximum in the minimum space of time to make sure that we can reach all our competitive swimmers.
And speaking to competitive swimmers, if it is that we are to start back, let's say in September, what are some of the measures that can be put in place to just mitigate any risk that the virus may be posing at this time?
Well, we will continue to be guided by the healthcare professionals. I'm not so inclined, so I can't say exactly what are the approaches, but we have considered some scenarios where we do staggered sessions, and where we do reduced sessions, reduced load. So we may do breaking up of the group, basically, so that we can maintain a control size group when we work with them as the coaches. That is just one scenario. I mean, there are many different things. We're looking at alternative pool rentals, wherever we could get that may facilitate at the time that we train, wherever is available. But that is not that prevalent in the country. A lot of the pools, a lot of the competitive clubs train around the same time, so it's going to be difficult to get pool time anywhere else. But there are different things that we are considering. Definitely the methods have to change. It will have to be more focused in the shorter space of time, because we anticipate a shorter session.
Okay. Same question, Vanessa. What do you think might be the future going forward in order for you to continue swimming classes if and when they do start back?
Well, in one case, same thing, we'd have to be guided by, the professionals, etc. One of the ways that we could do it, or one of the ways we could look at it, is the same staggered way, where you have no more than a certain amount of children in the pool at a time, as well as for little ones, where somebody has to be in the pool. The same thing will apply. sometimes I think that when you're dealing with babies, because I also teach babies, doing different skills where you don't have to face the child when you're working with them, finding, how to put it, inventive ways to put across the same thing that we were putting across before. And to use other pools, utilize more days so you don't have as many people in the pool as you would normally have as before COVID.
And so unlike let me get an idea. What are the spaces that you utilize? Because you say you do go to private clients too as well. What are the pools or the spaces that you utilize, Vanessa?
All right, so on the private client side, we would usually have, when I go to them, I will have one pool to myself, usually, and the child, right? Sometimes you may have another instructor in the water. When we're coaching group classes, we try to have it no more than one coach to 5 children, right? We don't try to have any more children than that. Try to avoid that as much as possible. So that by itself, we would have to cut down. So where we would have had 5 children per instructor, let's say within, I'm saying 15 meters of space, right? We would have to carry that down to 2 or 3 for the most. So that would be divided basically in 2. So you might have one set of children from, let's say we give them a time 12 to half 12, and from half 12 to 1, that other set of children would come in and utilize that same space.
What might be the direct effect to you, Vanessa, if it is that we cancel classes for the rest of 2020? What would be the ripple effects for you?
Well, I mean, economics-wise, obviously, I would have to find maybe some other way to bring in the income, be more inventive in terms of maybe doing, as people have been doing Zoom classes. I haven't really gone into that as yet. And try and maybe weather it out a bit. And that's what everybody basically has to do right now.
Okay. But is it that something like this you could actually use digital devices to facilitate? Because I mean, like you're doing stuff with toddlers in the water. That I think that's very different than if you use a digital device as compared to you physically being there. The risk associated with it. One would argue that you're taking a larger risk using a digital device as whereas you as a trained professional in the water with a young child. What is in your experience? Do you think that there's a high risk?
I would probably only venture into that with children who are more skilled, children who can be in the water by themselves, as with other than toddlers, who I would have to be in the water with or with the parent, because a lot of the times when parents are with toddlers or babies, they themselves are a little scared to try the skills with them. So yes, you would want to be reassured that the adult knows what they're doing. So definitely, it's less riskier or less risky to work with a child who's old and who knows the skills already, and you can Zoom it to them or give the instructions via the parents.
Okay.
That answers the question.
Yeah, I think it does. I mean, you're trying to put it from your perspective. My next question is, if a child stopped training, let's say in March, and you start back training in September, do you have to go over all the processes because you're dealing with very young children? Would you have to?
Say you'll probably have to give them like a little crash course in the beginning. Go through the specific skills for the as basic steps. Push off, streamline, kicking. It depends on where you are at with the child. If you were starting a new stroke, you'd go over those ones. For the babies, for instance, as well, you would start just with a crash course at the beginning. The thing with swimming, like riding a bike, you don't really ever forget it. Once you start back and it becomes a routine again, you pick up pretty fast. So I don't think it would be really problematic to get back into the swing of things.
Okay, and do you think that the future of swimming in Trinidad, at least for the immediate future, is now in jeopardy because of COVID-19?
Maybe for some parents and some children, because we do have some parents. I think we'll have a very hard time getting over this. We're all protective over our children, and some parents, I don't want to put more so than others, but are not, won't be as willing as others to get back into group scenarios again, right? Or an instructor being with the child again. I've heard some people even say that they're not going to start anything until January or until there's a vaccine,
Okay.
which could be a while from now. So some people will start back. You will have some people coming in and saying, yes, we want to come back as soon as possible. And then you're going to have some people who you mightn't see until next year. So it'll probably be a staggered start.
Have any background in competitive swimming, Sean? Have you had any feedback from any international organizations or any other jurisdictions that are dealing with the same problems and they have a plan moving forward?
Through the association, we have been getting the feedback and information from the international federation and some other jurisdictions. We look mostly to these states, which have varying responses, and they have, of course, a wider reach. There are about 400,000 athletes they're talking about. The general consensus is that from early research or from early indication, the pool is one of the safer places to be in terms of actually in the pool, once the pool is treated properly chemically. All right, but as we know, with any activity, with young teenagers or younger than that, you're going to have that level of interaction, and just like the same concerns they have with opening school, I guess they apply to this extracurricular activity too. It's a close quarters kind of activity. And more so out of the pool, they're going to the changing room. Everybody in the changing room pretty much at the same time. It's way beyond what is recommended from the health standpoint. I know one of the things that I saw from the literature that I read is that looking at having that same staggered approach and having limited use of the restrooms, limited use of the changing rooms, so that something that used to be a no-no in swimming, which they call deck changing, may now become the norm. And other than that, you may have them just come with a towel, come to the pool to swim and leave, pretty much. It kind of cuts down the social aspect of the sport. I mean, that may have to be on the digital end for the kids, because I know it's something that a lot of them look forward to.
This is a very disruptive space. Is there light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, I would say yes, there is. People who are really interested in the sport, people who really enjoy the sport, and I think they will go I know some parents on the whole that generally are very dedicated. All right, and in so doing, I expect that once the administrators and the pool operators put things in place, put policies in place, there's definitely room for forward movement. The nature by which the sport operates may change slightly in the short term, but I think eventually we will revert to what we know, for the most part, because it is generally a safe environment once things are in place. So it's going to be a lot more, if you want to say, emphasis on the pool operators, a lot more emphasis on the meet administrators, a lot more emphasis on event managers to ensure that their activities meet the needs and meet the specifications of the healthcare professionals.
Vanessa, is there any light at the end of the tunnel for you?
Well, yes. I mean, the thing is that swimming is something that all parents want their children to do, or at least most, those who could, go out and do it. And I think eventually, after this scare, which was a very big scare, people will begin to realize that there are safety precautions they can take, and that the children can come to swimming safely and that things, as I said before, will start coming back to some form of normalcy. Obviously, because there is this risk still in the air, you have to adopt certain procedures, put on your towel. The same thing as Sean said, going into the car, everything being done on deck, social distancing, sitting apart from people, etc. Staggering. There are ways to do it. I believe swimming is something that's very important, and that parents they won't just desert it like that. They will find a way to do it.
Okay. Sean, I forgot to ask you this question. What might be the effects, especially to an athlete who stopped training for such a long period of time and start back, let's say, in September or January next year? What would be the effects for that?
A lot of parents ask me that question too, and my simple answer to them is no more effect than the other swim. So it's ground zero for everybody. I think everybody will start back at the starting point. There's nobody, if somebody gets ahead right now, who rated them, they probably, if there was a competition in 2020, they would be able to tell something, but there's nothing of meaning in 2020. So everything will be towards long-term, with the shortest being 2021. And Olympics, the whole Olympic shift has impacted the higher level of the sport. And if those athletes have to make adjustments and will make adjustments, we only have to follow suit at the age group level.
Is there any form of training an athlete or a future athlete can do without water? Is there any form of training that they can do?
Yeah, there's land training. I mean, for those who have the equipment, there are swimming simulation equipment such as stretch cords, Vasta swim trainers, a number of different activities. You could also just work on your swim specific muscles, and there are tons of exercises and programs available online. And we encourage our parents to take a look at it because they're out of the water, they can't do anything if they're really interested. At the same time too, there's nothing ready to replace the pool. Mm-hmm. And we encourage people to take up other activities, keep athletic, most important.
Vanessa, same question. Is there any techniques or any other things that parents could do right now with their kids, those who are not having that opportunity to get to the pool?
Probably more for the ones who have actually started learn to swim. As I said before, I have mommy and me classes and I have learned to swim. You have different positions you can take, streamline position, probably dive, jumps off the floor, simple little things, arms, swim arms, basically the same things but on a very basic level. And you can make it into fun so that they don't forget. Body positioning against the wall, mommy and daddy helping you, holding on to your side. So yeah, there is that could be used to help you remember when you come back.
Okay.
And then
and just to say, just like the same concern I have with the school, we can't be naive and think that we just have to try and replicate as much of this swimming thing as possible. A big part of it is the interaction, is the social aspect of the sport. Just as in school, they would have their friends. That's one of the main reasons kids want to go to school. Yeah. Without that, you can't expect to just replicate that. Let's do the work. It has to be at a point where, enjoy it, have fun, as Vanessa said. Have fun, get some benefit, don't overdo anything. Don't overdo anything because you never know where that will lead to. It may lead to discontentment, it may lead to all kinds of different things.
And the question that come to mind, and the both of you all could answer, because I guess it's two different age groups, and one more on the athletic side and one dealing with toddlers and younger kids. What might be the psychological effects that your charges might be experiencing now? And if you had words of advice to them, what would you tell them?
Well, in my case, I think a bit of paranoia. I do know some parents now, they're exhibiting signs of it, if I may say so, and so that might go on to the children. When they come to the pool, you might see some behavioral changes from what they were before, and they may be afraid to do something, etc. The child that you had before, you wouldn't see then, and you would just have to reassure them and work with them. That's on my level. Because children at that age, you know, are probably more prone to that kind of anxiety. That's what I would say. And when they come back, just to relax, you know, and enjoy themselves, try to enjoy themselves as they were before. It might be a little difficult, but, you know, to try and do it.
My main thing, if I could talk to them and let them know, listen, it's not something that's affecting you as a swimmer, or you as a child, or you as a student. It's affecting the world. So, first of all, don't feel like you're a victim. You have to make the best of any situation and keep positive and do something every day, but also do something fun every day. That's my own.
Okay. Is there anything else?
The kids are the
Is there anything else that either one of you would like to add as we wrap?
I just
Okay, Vanessa first.
Just remember that physical activity, the same thing that Sean was saying, is extremely important at this point in time. It's a de-stressor, a main one, you know, and that there is a light at the end of the rainbow, and that parents should try for themselves and their children to keep on reminding themselves, not daily, but every now and again, just keep on reminding that we will get out of this and that there's so much to look forward to.
My take is that, you know, at the end of the day, and this is my personal feeling, is that whether we choose to or we have to, the world will go on and we'll have to live alongside the COVID. And we have to take whatever steps necessary to make ourselves as safe as possible, but we have to continue to live. That's about it.
Okay, with that, guys, I want to say thank you for being here with Mike on the mic. It was a pleasure to get a different perspective and to understand how important it is to keep talking to your kids, keep talking to your charges, especially in different communities in Trinidad, and how important it is for us to get that message out there. Thank you, guys.